Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Soul Whispers, Coming Home to You. This is episode 5, The Anger That Went Underground and Why It's Time to Let It Rise. Now let's take one slow breath right now together, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Let your body know that for the next little while, nothing is required of it except to receive. My name is Susan. I'm a certified somatic trauma-informed coach, EFT practitioner, Reiki master, and hypnotherapist, and you'll find my full list of credentials in the show notes below. I have created this series because I want you to know that you're not alone. And more than any certificate on my wall, my life experiences are what led me on this journey. I want to share with you that I am someone who spent nearly 40 years in a relationship built on trauma bonds, intermittent reinforcement, gaslighting, and walking on eggshells, and who found my own way back to myself once I finally had the language for what I had lived. I don't guide you from a place of theory. I guide you from a place of having walked this road and found that it does lead somewhere beautiful. So 5 Sundays now, 5 times you have shown up, whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey. I am so proud of you for taking the steps to honor yourself. We have heard the whisper, we've planted a seed, found the voice, built the foundation of inner safety. And today we go somewhere I promised you last week, somewhere that I think many of you have been quietly, carefully avoiding for a very long time. Today, we talk about anger. And before we do, I want to tell you something about this particular week, because the sky is doing something extraordinary right now, and it is directly relevant to what we are about to open. On Friday, April 17th, the new moon in Aries rises, and this is not just any new moon. This is the most powerful new moon of the entire year. The first new moon of the astrological new year, the new moon of identity, of courage, and of the fire that refuses to be extinguished, and Aries, the sign of fire, of assertion, of the self that steps forward unapologetically. It rules anger, clean anger, clarifying anger, the kind that does not destroy but illuminate, the kind that says, this was not acceptable. I deserved better, and I am allowed to know that. The cosmos is asking you this week, before the new moon rises, to clear the ground, to bring up what has been underground, so that when Friday arrives, you are planting seeds into soil that is finally free of what has been buried in it. And that is what we do today. Let's begin. I want to let you know that in my story, I was not allowed to be angry. Not in an explicit way. No one ever sat me down and said those words, but I learned it the way you learn things in a relationship where the emotional temperature is set by one person and your job is to manage around it. His anger was large. It took up room's volume. It arrived without warning, and it left damage in its wake. Damage that everyone then quietly moved around, including my children, as if it hadn't happened until the next time it arrived. And my anger was inconvenient. When I felt it, the very reasonable, very human, very accurate anger at things that deserved a different response, well, the response I received was not acknowledgement. It was dismissal. It was rage at being confronted. And that would then be twisted around on me to make me start questioning myself. Sometimes it would even be cold withdrawal, that silent treatment. And all of that taught me over time that expressing my anger came with a cost I couldn't afford. I also met him when I was 14 years old. So this was all I began to know in my entire relationship. And so my anger, I swallowed it over and over. I became extraordinarily good at converting anger into something more socially acceptable. into patience, into understanding, into the careful, exhausting work of managing the situation so that the room didn't ignite. This anger became energy circulating through my body with nowhere to go. I found myself going on cleaning frenzies and keeping myself busy, occupied, go, go, go. This was safer than letting my anger out. But what I didn't understand then was where the anger went when I didn't express it and I cleaned the house instead. Sure, it helped move the energy, but it didn't acknowledge it. Anger doesn't disappear when you suppress it. It goes underground. It becomes the anxiety that arrives before conversations that should be ordinary, the exhaustion that has no name, the depression that is so often simply anger with nowhere to go. By the time I left, by the time I finally had the space and the safety to feel what I had been managing for decades, the anger was enormous. Not because I'm an angry person, but because I had been storing it for like 40 years. And here is what I want you to hear. Not the anger itself, but what it was underneath. It was information. Every single piece of it. Every moment of suppressed anger was a moment where some part of me knew clearly and accurately, this is not right. This is not acceptable. I deserve better than this. My anger was never the problem. My anger was the part of me that always knew. And I am so grateful that I finally, after all of it, let it speak. And perhaps for you, the anger didn't come from a relationship. Perhaps it came from a workplace that demanded everything and returned nothing. From a family that taught you early on that your feelings were inconvenient. From years of people-pleasing that left no room for the truth of what you actually felt. Perhaps you have simply lived in a world that was more comfortable with your compliance than your truth. The origin doesn't change what it costs. Suppressed anger is suppressed anger, wherever it began. And your body has been carrying it faithfully, loyally, at enormous expense, until you're finally ready to do something different with it. And today, you are finally ready. Now let's talk about the new moon in Aries and how this new moon is supporting you on this journey. We are in the waning crescent phase right now, the final darkest days of the lunar cycle. The moon has been releasing since the full moon in Libra 2 weeks ago. She is almost fully dark now, almost invisible in the sky. This phase carries very specific energy. It is not the energy of beginning. That comes on Friday, April 17th. It is the energy of completion, of clearing, of releasing the last of what does not belong in the new cycle so that the ground is ready when the seed arrives. And what better things to release in the final days before the most powerful new moon of the year than anger that you've been carrying underground. The waning crescent is asking you to bring it up, not to act on it destructively, but to acknowledge it, to feel it, to allow it to exist outside of the body that has been storing it, so that when the new moon rises Friday morning, you are planting seeds into a ground that has been cleared, composted, and made ready. So here's why this week's extraordinary. Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the sign of fire and assertion and the self that refuses to disappear, is currently hosting an extraordinary gathering of planets. The Sun, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, and all in Aries, all speaking simultaneously about the same things: identity, courage, the right to exist fully as yourself, the fire that was always yours. Mars, the planet of action and, yes, healthy anger, is in the home sign of Aries right now, operating with full force. Mars in Aries does not ask permission. He does not manage himself into someone else's comfort. He moves, he acts, he says, "This matters to me, and I am allowed to know that." This is the cosmic backdrop for your anger work this week. You are not doing this alone. The whole sky is lit with fire right now, and it's asking you to trust yours. And then there's Chiron, the wounded healer, an asteroid that speaks of the wounds we carry, sometimes from childhood, sometimes from years of living in a way that cost us too much, and of the profound healing that becomes available when we finally stop running from them. Chiron conjunct this new moon means something specific for you. It means that the seeds you plant on Friday are healing seeds, that the new beginning you initiate is one that comes from a place of genuine embodied healing, not just from a desire for change, but from the work you have already been doing, the work of these last 5 Sundays, the work of coming home to you. Chiron teaches that our deepest wounds become our greatest wisdom, and that the healers who touch others most profoundly are those who have walked through their own fire. Your anger, properly felt and honored, is not a wound, it's a doorway. And on Friday, April 17th, the most potent new moon of the year arrives, the first new moon of the astrological new year, occurring at 27 degrees of Aries, a degree that speaks directly to moving beyond the need for external validation, to finally and fully please yourself instead of performing for others. All major planets are direct. What does that mean? Well, that means there are no cosmic obstacles to what you initiate right now. The road is clear. Think of yourself driving on this bumpy road and all of a sudden you hit that smooth pavement, not a car in sight. The sky is blue. The trees are green and beautiful, and you are just smoothly coasting. The sky is ready, and you are almost there. This week, we clear the ground. We bring up the anger that went underground. We honor it. We discharge it safely, and we compost it into something extraordinary. So on Friday, we plant, not before, but on that day. I want you to make time for you to plant the seeds needed to create the life you desire. Now, we will talk about exactly how to do that and what seeds to plant in a special new moon section at the very end of this episode today. So stay with me all the way to the end, because what comes after the meditation today is important. Now let's talk a little bit about the anger that went underground. Let me tell you what anger actually is. Not what we've been taught it is. Not the dangerous, destructive, unbecoming thing that it becomes when it is either used destructively or suppressed, but what it is in its clean, original, healthy form. Anger is information. It is the nervous system's signal that a boundary has been crossed, that something important has been violated. Your safety, your dignity, your truth, your right to be treated with basic decency. Anger in its healthy expression is what arrives when something is wrong and your body wants you to know it. It is not aggression. It is not cruelty. It is not the rage that filled the rooms of your old life and left damage in its wake. That was not healthy anger. That was suppressed pain wearing the only mask it had ever been taught to wear. Healthy anger is clean, it's clear, it's proportionate, and it's one of the most important pieces of internal information a human being can receive. The people who were threatened by your anger were threatened because your anger was accurate. It named what they needed you not to name. It said what they needed you not to say. It knew what they needed you not to know. When we can't express anger, when the environment makes its expression dangerous or impossible, it does not simply evaporate. It changes form. In the body, suppressed anger most commonly becomes one of 3 things. Anxiety, the constant low-level state of bracing, of waiting for something to go wrong, of the nervous system running perpetually on high alert. And then there's depression. That happens when the energy of anger has nowhere else to go, outward, and it turns back on itself, collapsing inward. And another one is physical symptoms, tension, inflammation, the body expressing what the voice was never allowed to. And in my case, that suppressed anger turned into rheumatoid arthritis at the young age of 27. The connection between suppressed anger and physical health is well documented. The chronic muscle tension of someone who has been managing their own emotional responses for years. Now, the jaw holds what the mouth has never been allowed to say. A lot of people have TMJ problems. The gut that registers what the mind dismissed. A lot of people have issues with their gut. And the immune system that eventually turns on itself when the internal environment has been in a state of chronic, unacknowledged stress for long enough. This is not a metaphor. This is physiology, and understanding it, truly understanding, helps to know what lives in the body has been placed there by years of emotional experience. And that is one of the most liberating things a person in healing can receive and understand. I want to draw a distinction that matters. The anger we are working with today is not the anger that attacks. It is not the anger that seeks to punish or humiliate or control. That kind of anger is not clean. It is suppressed pain finally finding a target, and it costs the person expressing it as much as the person receiving it. Clean anger is something different. It is the anger that says, what happened to me was not acceptable, not as an attack on another person, as a statement of truth about your own experience, about your own worth, about the baseline of treatment that every human being deserves and that you, for too long, accepted less than. Clean anger is clarifying. It draws a line. It says, I know now what I was worth. I know now what I should have received. And I'm using that knowledge not to punish anyone, but to build something different from here. Your anger, honored and expressed cleanly, is one of the most powerful agents of healing you have access to. It is the part of you that always knew. It is the part of you that survived, and it deserves, finally and completely, to be heard. Now, if I may, I'd like to speak to the part of you that is afraid of your own anger. The part that has seen your anger weaponized, that knows what it looks like when anger is not clean, when it is not information but punishment, and has decided somewhere deep down that the safest thing is to never feel it at all. I understand that decision completely. When you have lived with someone else's unregulated anger for long enough, your own anger begins to feel dangerous. Not because it is, but because you have learned at a cellular level that anger in a room means someone is about to get hurt. And that can be emotionally hurt as well, not just physical. And you will do anything, including denying your own truth, to prevent that from happening. But here's what I need you to understand. Your anger is not their anger. The fire in you is not the fire that was used against you. It is yours. It is clean. And it has been waiting patiently, faithfully, underground for the moment when you finally had enough safety to let it rise. This is that moment. 5 days before the most powerful new moon of the year, in the final dark of the waning crescent, with the whole sky lit with fire and asking you to trust yours. You are not too much. You were placed in circumstances that required you to be less than you were, and that is not the same thing at all. The new moon in Aries is the moon of the self that steps forward, of the identity that refuses to keep itself small for anyone's comfort, of the fire that finally, after however many years it has been underground, is allowed to burn. Let it. Not destructively, not at anyone, just let it burn. Let it clarify. Let it show you one more time what you have always known. You deserve better. You still do. And that knowledge, clean, clear, and true, is one of the most powerful seeds you will ever plant. Now I'd like to do 3 practices for the underground fire, which is going to be a somatic practice. Now anger is energy. Energy needs to move. These 3 practices are designed to allow the energy of suppressed anger to discharge safely from the body, not to be amplified or destructive, but to be acknowledged and released. So find a space where you have a little room where you can move a little bit. And if you can stand, that is even better. If not, seated will be completely fine. But if you're able to stand, let's do that. Now, this is what mammals do in the wild after a threat passes. After the chase, after the near miss, they shake, sometimes violently for several minutes. And in that shaking, the chemistry of the stress response discharges from the body. Humans have largely lost this capacity because we live in a world where shaking is considered like undignified. But the body still needs it, especially a body that has been holding suppressed emotion for years. So let's have you stand up, if you can, with your feet hip width apart. Let your knees soften, not locked, not bent deeply, just easy. And begin to let your body shake. Start with your legs. You don't even have to be thinking of anything. Just let your body start to shake. With your legs, a gentle vibration, kind of like you're shivering when you're really cold. And let it travel up through your hips and your belly and your chest. And now shake your arms and your hands. Let it be as small or as large as it feels right for you. You can't do this wrong. Now, as your body's shaking, if emotions rise, let it. That's the point. Because it's stored energy finding its way out. So you want to do this for at least 1 minute, and more if your body wants it. I find that if I do this at the end of my day, I sleep so much better. I am shaking off whatever the day brought me, but whatever else my body may have been holding on from years ago. Now, practice 2 is what I will call the lion's breath. This practice releases what has been held in the jaw and the throat, the places where unexpressed anger lives most visibly. So breathe in deeply through your nose, fill your lungs, and open your mouth wide. Extend your tongue toward your chin and exhale hard with a strong sound. And you want your eyes wide open, your face fully expressed. Let it be loud, as if you're letting out that sound. And this we would do 3 times minimum. The first one may feel strange or self-conscious, but by the 3rd, something usually begins to shift. And this is your body releasing what your voice was trained to hold back. Practice 3, you want to write 1 true angry thing. So you would take a piece of paper or a journal and write 1 sentence, just 1. The sentence your anger has been trying to say for however long it's been underground. Now, I know some of you might think you could write a whole 3 pages, but right now we just need 1 sentence. Not a letter to anyone, not something you will send or share, just a sentence that's true, that names what happened, that says what the anger knows. You are allowed to be as specific as you need to be. You are allowed to use whatever language feels true for you. This is not for anyone else. It is for the part of you that has been waiting to say it. And once you've written it, I'd like you to read it back to yourself, out loud if you can. Place your hand over your heart and say, after you read it, I hear you. I have always heard you, and I'm sorry it took me this long to let you speak. And then you can burn that piece of paper or crumble it, rip it up, throw it away, or you can hold on to it if you need to and feel like you want to do that again at another time. Every piece of anger that surfaces and is honored, it clears the ground for the new moon. So every truth acknowledged in the dark is a seed prepared for planting on Friday. Now let's begin your guided meditation, the fire that was already yours. Find your position. Feet on the ground if possible. Feel the earth beneath you. Solid, patient, unconditional. The same earth that has been here through every storm, every silence, every year you spent managing instead of feeling. It is still here. You are still here. Take one breath in through your nose and a long, slow exhale through your mouth. And let the exhale be audible if you can. Let it carry something. Again, breathe in through your nose and exhale out with a sound. And once more, and this time as you exhale, feel your feet press into the ground. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the solidity of this moment. You are here. You are safe. And today, in this space, you are allowed to feel everything because it's safe to do so. Now feel the energy of this extraordinary week surrounding you. The sky is lit with fire right now from Aries, the sign of the warrior, the pioneer, the self that steps forward without apology. And it holds the sun, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron all in its domain. This is not subtle energy. This is a gathering, a cosmic assembly of everything that speaks to the right to exist fully, to feel fully, and to be fully yourself. And when the new moon rises in this fire, the most powerful new moon of the year, asking you one question that all of this, all the 5 Sundays, all the clearing, all the coming home has been building toward. Who are you becoming now that you are finally free to feel? That question is not for right now. Right now we prepare, we clear, we honor what has been underground so that the ground is ready for what comes next. So bring your awareness slowly into your body, not to assess it, not to judge it, simply to notice where the fire lives, where the unexpressed emotion has taken up residence. Your jaw. Notice if it's held, if there are words behind your teeth that have been waiting. Now bring your awareness to your throat. Notice its quality. Does it feel open or constricted? The voice that returns as you continue to heal. Feel it growing even stronger now. And bring in your awareness to your chest and your heart. And place your hand over your heart now, your anchor. And feel the steady beat beneath your palm. This heart has been carrying so much for so long. Feel how faithful it has been. And breathe. Now bring your awareness to your belly, your gut. This is where anger tends to live when it cannot rise, where the truth has been stored in the body's own language. Place your awareness here with great gentleness, not to force anything, but to let it know that you are ready to listen now. Notice what's there. Tension, tightness, a warmth, a dull heaviness that's been so familiar you stop noticing it. Whatever is there, it has been there faithfully, and you are ready now to acknowledge it. Now I want to invite you into an image. Allow your inner eye to see this with me. Imagine a fire, not a raging fire, not one that consumes, just a small, pleasant fire underground, hidden beneath the surface of what you have shown the world for so many years. It's burning quietly and steadily in the dark. This fire has been burning for a long, long time, feeding on what was never expressed, on the truths that were swallowed, on the anger that was converted into patience, into silence, into the endless management of someone else's temperature. It did not go out. It never went out. It simply went underground, because underground was the only safe place for it. And now in this space, in this safety, in the dark of the waning crescent before the most powerful new moon of the year, you are reaching down toward it, and you are saying, I see you. I know what you have been trying to tell me, and I'm ready to bring you up. Feel the warmth of it as it rises. Not destructive, not wild. Warm and clear and yours. This fire is information. Every flicker of it is a moment where part of you knew this is not right. This was not acceptable. I deserved more than this. Let yourself feel that knowing now as you continue to release what has been stored. And breathe as the ground continues to clear in preparation for what's coming. Let the knowing rise. Let it be felt. Let it be real. Now, with your hand on your heart and the fire acknowledged and rising, I want to invite you to do something. Give the anger a color. Whatever arises, don't think, just notice. What color is this fire that has been underground? See it in your body, wherever it lives, and notice that. And on your next exhale, imagine that color vacuuming up and pulling all that anger, leaving your body, not with force, but with intention. Breathing out what no longer needs to be stored. What has been held long enough, and what has been heard finally and completely, and can now be released. In through the nose, drawing in something clean, something spacious, the space that is opening as the stored emotion releases. And then out through the mouth, the color of the stored anger, leaving your body, composting back into the earth beneath you. And Mother Earth receives it. Mother Earth is not afraid of it. The earth transforms it into something new. Now do 3 breaths like this. In with spaciousness, out with what has been stored. In with spaciousness, releasing what has been stored. In with spaciousness and cleanliness, and out with what no longer serves you and what has been stored. One more time, breathing in with spaciousness, opening up, and releasing through your mouth, letting go of what has been stored, and relax. And as the ground clears, as the underground fire is acknowledged and begins to transform, I want to invite you to notice what's left. Because when anger is honored and released, when it is finally allowed to speak and then to let go, what remains in its place is something extraordinary. Clarity. Clarity. The clear, clean knowing of what you deserve, of what you will no longer accept, of who you are becoming as the old patterns release and the new ones take root. Now hold on to that clarity now. Feel its quality. Cool and clear after the warmth of the fire. This is your truth. This is what the anger was always protecting. And as you hold it, as you feel the ground clearing and the clarity settling, bring your awareness to Friday, to the new moon that will rise in the morning, to the most powerful new moon of the year, to the moment when you will plant what you have been preparing. Now you are not planting into untouched ground. You are planting into ground that has been cleared by 5 weeks of this Sunday work, by the honest feeling of what has been underground, by the courage to come home to yourself one practice at a time. The seeds you plant Friday will grow in ground like this, composted, honest, and ready. And they will grow into something extraordinary. Go ahead and see that right now in your mind. Feel it in your body with your hand over your heart. That feeling of peace, of knowing, of acceptance of who you are and what you truly deserve, and allowing that love and healing light to flow through your entire body. Knowing you will come back on Friday to spend time with yourself, to share and build and plant even more healing and loving and nurturing into this seed that you have planted into this new moon. And breathe. Now slowly and gently begin to feel the room around you, returning to you, the weight of your body, the ground beneath your feet. Keep your hand on your heart for one final breath, feeling the anchor deeper now, more trusted, more available than it was 5 weeks ago. Feel the clarity that has settled where the stored anger was. Feel the space, the openness, the readiness. And take one final slow breath in through your nose and a long exhale through your mouth. And when you're ready, slowly and gently open your eyes. Now, I promised you something at the beginning of today's episode, a guide for Friday. So here it is. This is how you plant your new moon seeds. When the new moon peaks on Friday, April 17th, the best window for intention setting is from that moment through the following 48 hours. So any time from Friday morning through Sunday evening is powerful. You do not need to be awake super early in the morning, but simply do your practice sometime on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Now, before you write your intentions, you want to spend a few minutes in stillness by preparing your space. So you may light a candle if you have one, because fire honors fire. You will place your hand on your heart. Take 3 slow vagus nerve breaths. So that would be breathing in through your nose for 4. You will hold for 2, and then you will exhale through your mouth for the count of 7 or 8. Let your body arrive into the present moment. Then briefly, without dwelling, acknowledge what you've released this week. The anger that was honored, the truth that was felt, the ground that was cleared. You are not planting into a fresh field. You're planting into soil you have prepared. And that matters. We started doing that 5 weeks ago. Now, Aries rules identity, courage, self-assertion, new beginnings, and the right to exist fully as yourself. This new moon specifically asks, who are you beyond the need for external validation? So these 3 questions will help you find your seeds that you want to plant. Seed 1, identity. Who am I? Now that I am no longer defined by what was done to me, I want you to write one sentence beginning with, I am becoming. And you will answer, who am I now that I am no longer defined by what was done to me? Seed question 2, courage. The question will be, what have I been waiting for permission to begin? And you will write one sentence beginning with, I am ready to. Seed question 3 will be healing. What old wound am I ready to finally stop carrying? You will write one sentence beginning with, I release. Now, here's how you write your intentions. You want to write your intentions in the present tense as if they are already becoming true. You don't want to write, I want to, or anything like that. You do want to write, I am, or I have, or I choose, because this is how the subconscious receives a new instruction. Not as a wish, but as a truth that's already learning. You want to keep them personal and specific and be honest. Not what you think you should want, because that puts out signals to the universe that are misconstrued. They just don't land. So you want to be honest about what you truly want. Be specific. Be genuine. Get in your body. You know what you need. When you have written them, go ahead and read them out loud to yourself. Place a hand on your heart as you do. And let your own voice saying your own truth be the first sound that these seeds hear. Then keep them somewhere safe. Return to them at the full moon, which will be in Scorpio on May 1st. And again, you can return to them at the full moon in Libra sometime in autumn to see what's grown. You have been clearing ground for 5 weeks now. On Friday is when you will plant. What grows from this new moon in this cleared and honest soil will be unlike anything that has grown in the old ground. Now, before you return to your day, I'd like you to take a moment and feel the ground beneath you. Feel the space inside your body where something heavy has begun just slightly to lift. Feel the readiness. 5 Sundays, 5 layers of coming home. You have heard the whisper, tended the seed, found the voice, built the inner safety, and today you brought up the fire that was always yours. That is not small work. That is the work of a lifetime, and you're doing it. And on Friday, you're going to plant your seeds. Use the 3 questions. Write in the present tense. Hand on your heart. Voice out loud. Let the most powerful new moon of the year receive what you have prepared. And next Sunday, we'll be doing episode 6, where we return to those seeds. We stand in the energy of the new moon that just passed in the Taurus season that begins the same day. And we go deeper into the question the cosmos has been building towards all of Aries season. Who are you becoming? We'll be talking about new beginnings and self-discovery. If today's episode moves something in you, please share it with someone who needs to know that their anger is not the problem. It never was. And you can find me every week right here, where I offer you a safe place to land. If you found this helpful, I hope you will give it a thumbs up, and please leave a comment and let me know how you're doing and anything you'd like to see coming up in future episodes. I'd love to hear from all of you. So until next Sunday, remember to shake it off, breathe, write your truth, and on Friday, plant something extraordinary. And remember, you are already home. With much love and hugs. Till next week.